The Great Crusade is one of the most monumental events in the lore of the Warhammer 40,000 universe, serving as a defining era for the galaxy-spanning Imperium of Man. Taking place roughly 10,000 years before the current timeline of Warhammer 40K, the Great Crusade was an ambitious and militaristic campaign launched by the Emperor of Mankind to unify the fragmented human world scattered across the galaxy. This event laid the foundations for the Imperium and significantly shaped the future of humanity, as well as setting the stage for the catastrophic Horus heresy that would follow. Before the Great Crusade, the galaxy was in a state of disarray known as the Age of Strife. This period, lasting from the 25th to the 30th millennium, was characterized by widespread anarchy, isolation, and technological regression. The Age of Strife was triggered by several catastrophic events. The first was the collapse of the Warp. The Warp became increasingly turbulent and dangerous due to the birth of the Chaos god Slaanesh. This resulted in the fall of the Eldar Empire and caused warp storms that isolated human worlds from each other, disrupting communication and travel. Next was the Psyker phenomena. Human populations began to develop psychic abilities, leading to widespread fear and persecution. Uncontrolled Psykers were often possessed by demonic entities, causing devastation and furthering the collapse of human civilization. Lastly was the Men of Iron incident. Once allies to humanity, the Men of Iron were AI constructs that turned against their creators, leading to a devastating war that contributed to the mass fragmentation of human society. During this time of turmoil, a powerful and enigmatic figure known as the Emperor of Mankind emerged on Terra. The Emperor was a being of immense psychic power and ancient knowledge, believed to have lived for thousands of years. His origins are shrouded in mystery, but he was determined to reunite humanity under a single unified Imperium. The Emperor first established his rule on Terra, overthrowing the warlords and techno-barbarians that had dominated the planet. He then formed the first of the Adeptus Astartes, the Space Marines, genetically engineered superhuman warriors designed to serve as the vanguard of his armies. To lead these forces, he created the 20 Primarchs, his genetically engineered sons, each imbued with a fraction of his power and designed to be the ultimate leaders and generals. In the early 30th millennium, with Terra unified and the first of the Primarchs and Space Marines created, the Emperor launched the Great Crusade. The goal was clear: to reunite the scattered human colonies across the galaxy, bring them under the rule of the Imperium, and protect them from the myriad threats that lurked in the dark corners of the universe. The Primarchs were critical to the success of the Great Crusade. Each Primarch was a paragon of martial prowess, leadership, and charisma, destined to lead one of the Space Marine legions, known as the Legiones Astartes. However, before the Crusade could begin in earnest, a cataclysmic event known as the Scattering occurred, where the infant Primarchs were torn from the Emperor's gene laboratories by the forces of chaos and dispersed across the galaxy. Despite this setback, the Emperor pressed on, creating the legions using the genetic material of the missing Primarchs. As the Crusade progressed, the Emperor discovered each of his lost sons, and they took their place at the head of their respective legions, each bringing unique strengths and characteristics. The Great Crusade was carried out through a series of expedition fleets, each comprising of thousands of Space Marines, Imperial Army troops, support personnel, and spacecraft. These fleets fanned out from Terra, bringing worlds into compliance with Imperial law either through diplomacy or force. The Emperor himself led many of these early expeditions, accompanied by his favored Primarchs and legions. The fleets were tasked with rediscovering human worlds, eliminating Xenos threats, and re-establishing the dominance of mankind across the stars. Each world encountered was given a choice: join the Imperium willingly or face the might of the Emperor's legions. One of the most significant early campaigns of the Great Crusade was the Ulanor Crusade. The Ulanor system was under the control of a vast Orc empire led by a powerful warlord. The Emperor, along with his favored Primarch Horus and his Luna Wolves Legion, later renamed the Sons of Horus, led a massive Imperial force against the Orcs. The campaign ended in a decisive victory for the Imperium, with the Orc warlord slain and his empire shattered. This victory solidified the Emperor's power and led Horus to being named War Master, the supreme commander of the Great Crusade in the Emperor's absence. Throughout the Crusade, numerous worlds were brought into compliance. These compliance actions varied in nature, with some worlds joining willingly due to shared cultural or ideological values, while others were conquered through force. The galaxy was far from empty, and the Great Crusade encountered numerous xenospecies and human cultures with beliefs at odds with Imperial doctrine. The Imperium's stance was often one of intolerance towards Xenos, leading to numerous conflicts, such as with the Interrex people. The Interrex was a technologically advanced human civilization that had managed to coexist with certain xenospecies. The Imperium's contact with the Interrex was initially peaceful, but misunderstandings and cultural differences led to hostilities. This conflict with the Interrex was a tragic example of the difficulties in integrating diverse human cultures into the Imperium. The Great Crusade was not solely about military conquest. It also aimed to bring enlightenment and progress to the galaxy. The Imperium spread technological advances, rebuilt infrastructure, and promoted the imperial truth, a secular philosophy that denied the existence of gods and sought to eliminate superstition. The Emperor's goal was to create a rational, enlightened, and unified human civilization, free from the influence of chaos and other malign forces. The Martian Mechanicum, the ancient tech priests of Mars, played a crucial role in the Great Crusade. In exchange for autonomy and the right to worship the Omnissiah, whom they identified with the Emperor, the Mechanicum provided the Imperium with advanced technology, including the construction of the mighty Titans and starships. The alliance with Mars was instrumental in the success of the Crusade, ensuring the Imperium had the technological superiority needed to conquer the stars. Despite its successes, the Great Crusade faced numerous challenges. The forces of chaos, though still largely hidden, sought to undermine the Emperor's work. The corruption of certain Primarchs and the spread of heretical beliefs posed a growing threat. The seeds of dissent and rebellion were sown within the Imperium, and the Emperor's refusal to acknowledge the existence of chaos publicly led to ignorance and vulnerability among his followers. The Great Crusade's downfall came with the Horus Heresy, a galaxy-wide civil war that erupted when Horus, the Emperor's favorite son and war master, turned against him. Influenced and corrupted by the powers of chaos, Horus led half of the Space Marine legions in rebellion against the Emperor. The heresy tore the Imperium apart, pitting brother against brother and causing untold destruction. The betrayal was not only a military crisis, but also a spiritual and ideological one. Many Primarchs, who had been the embodiments of the Emperor's vision, fell to chaos or were killed in the conflict. The heresy shattered the dream of a unified human empire and marked the beginning of the Imperium's long, slow decline into the grim, dystopian future depicted in the Warhammer 40K narrative. The climax of the Horus Heresy was the Siege of Terra, where Horus led his traitorous forces in a direct assault on the Imperial Palace. The battle was apocalyptic in scale, with Titans, Space Marines, and demons clashing in a desperate struggle. In the final confrontation, the Emperor faced Horus aboard his flagship, the Vengeful Spirit. The Emperor, though gravely wounded, managed to slay Horus, but the victory came at a great cost. The Emperor was mortally wounded in his battle with Horus. To preserve his life and continue guiding humanity, he was entombed in the Golden Throne, a life-supporting device that kept him in a perpetual state of undeath. From the Golden Throne, the Emperor's psychic presence continues to protect the Imperium, guiding the Astronomicon, a psychic beacon that enables faster-than-light travel. The Great Crusade's end marked the beginning of the Age of the Imperium, a dark and dystopian era defined by war, superstition, and tyranny. The dream of a rational, enlightened human empire was replaced by a theocratic regime that worshipped the Emperor as a god. Despite its tragic end, the Great Crusade left an indelible mark on the galaxy. The Imperium of Man, for all its flaws, remains the largest and most powerful human empire in existence, defending humanity against countless threats. The Primarchs, though many were lost or corrupted, continue to inspire the Space Marines and other Imperial forces. The Great Crusade was a pivotal moment in the Warhammer 40K universe, a grand and ambitious endeavor that sought to unify humanity and bring order to a chaotic galaxy. It was a time of heroes and legends, of monumental battles and profound discoveries. Yet it was also a time of hubris, betrayal, and tragedy. The Great Crusade laid the foundations for the Imperium, but it also sowed the seeds of its eventual downfall. Its story is one of both triumph and despair, a reflection of the eternal struggle between order and chaos that defines the Warhammer 40,000 narrative. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the epic saga of the Great Crusade. From the unification of Terra to the cataclysm of the Horus Heresy, this is the story of a dream that changed the galaxy forever. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Warhammer 40K universe, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Your support helps me create more content like this. Check out our other videos to learn more about the Dark Age of technology, or even the ancient history of the Eldar. There's so much more to explore in the vast and grimdark universe of Warhammer 40K. Until next time, remember, in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and may the Emperor protect you.